Hello dear students, this is Krishna Chaitanya Nagaraju, Assistant Professor, Department of CSC, GRIT Hyderabad. I am your course instructor for this lab course of Object Oriented Software Engineering, OOSC lab in short. This video is pertaining to the task 2 of the lab. In the previous session, in the previous video, we discussed about lab 1, that is task 1 of the lab. So what we discussed in the previous session was pertaining to this requirement analysis. You were asked to write down a problem statement. So requirement analysis, system specifications, along with the design, these all comes into one document. The artifact that we can come out with is, the final artifact would be SRS. Related to SRS, today we will discuss SRS in short. What actually is of software requirement specification. So we discussed, like, we will be having 3 problems in the course of laboratory: the library management system, automating the manual reservation system, and warehouse management system. So these are the 3 problems, running problems we will be seeing in the lab. In the task 1, you were asked to prepare the problem statement for the applications, so which will have an initial point for the project. I am just giving you a brief idea of what happened in the task 1. So now this is for the task 2, that is of week 2 of the lab. We need to develop software requirement specification for above applications. For the 3 problems whatever we have discussed, that need to be done. So the question comes, what is SRS, why SRS, and how to write SRS. Basically, SRS summarizes the requirements. It is the bottom line between the customer and the developer. Once SRS is fixed, people can go for design and implementation. Why we should have SRS? SRS acts as a basic document between the requirement specifications given by the user, accepted by the user, as documented by the developing team. So how to write SRS, we will discuss elaborately. There are many mechanisms to write SRS. The standard one is IEEE 830 1998 standard. Section 2 of SRS has got the following contents: table, table of contents, introduction, overall description. Under overall description you can find product perspective, product functions, user characteristics, constraints, assumptions, and dependencies. And then specific requirements, maybe your functional or non-functional requirements, and then other requirements, followed by the appendices. Each company may have its own bit of standard to follow, but by and large all companies are supposed to follow this IEEE 830 standard. So in step 1, the procedure to write the SRS, we need to understand the step 1 is introduction. In the introduction, you have different subheadings to take care of. The purpose, you have to identify the product whose software requirements are specified in this document. So first identify, describe the scope of the product that is covered by this SRS. This is very important. What for are you writing this SRS document? That should be identified first. Describe the different types of user that the document is intended for. Who is going to read this SRS document? That should be made very clear, such as it may be for developers, project managers, maybe marketing staff, users, testers, and documentation writers. So please mention that intent, intended for whom. Describe what the rest of this SRS contains and how it is organized. So this is covered under purpose. Suggest a sequence of reading this document. And then we need to mention the project scope. What belongs to the project, what does not belong to the project. The boundaries need to be clearly specified. Provide a short description of the software being specified and its purpose, including relevant benefits, objectives, and goals. An SRS that specifies the next release of an evolving product should contain its own scope statement as a subset of the long-term strategic product vision. Sometimes it may happen that revisions can be done in the SRS. So it is an evolving product, then it should have its own release. So that should also be mentioned and linked. In the step 2, we will go for overall description, where we will mention the product perspective, under which we need to describe the context and origin of the product being specified in this SRS. In which context the product has been come out, what is the origin of the product. So for example, state whether this product is a follow-on member of a product family. Already I may be having a package of products, and I may be adding one more application into that package. So I need to mention in such case a replacement for certain existing systems or a new self-contained product, that should be maintained here. And then we need to mention the product features. Summarize the major features the product contains or the significant functions that it performs or let the user perform. A picture of the major groups of related requirements and how they relate, such as top level data flow diagram or a class diagram, is often effective in communicating this particular information. And then we can go for user classes and characteristics. There might be different classes of users who may be using the product, so you have to specifically mention what type of users may be using and what are their roles and what are the actions they may be performing, such as identify the various user classes that you anticipate will use this product. For example, library management system, the users may be student, the user may be administrator, the user may be faculty. Likewise, user class may be differentiated based on frequency of use, subset of product functions used, technical expertise, security or privilege levels, educational levels or experience. Take the example of library management system. The privilege levels is like issual is done by the librarian. Only the student can borrow a book, but he cannot issue a book. Describe the pertinent characteristics of each user class. Certain requirements may pertain only to certain classes, as what I was discussing earlier. Distinguish the favored user classes from those who are less important to satisfy. There might be many user classes, you may not need to satisfy all the user classes, so that you need to identify. You need to specify the operating environment in this step. Describe the environment in which the software will operate, including the hardware platform, operating system and versions, and any other software components or applications with which it must peacefully coexist. So this is where you will specify the hardware platforms and operating systems and versions. Design and implementation constraints need to be mentioned. Describe any item or issues that will limit the options available to the developers. These might include corporate or regulatory policies. Hardware limitations like timing requirements or memory requirements should also be clearly specified here. Interfaces to the other applications. Specific technologies, tools, databases to be used, parallel operations expected. Language requirements, communication protocols, security considerations. Design conventions or programming standards. If the customer organization will be responsible for maintaining the delivered software, if that is the case, it should be mentioned here. So these are certain things, implementation constraints, which should be clearly specified under this category. Then we have system features. Now this system features is very important. We will have the functional requirements and non-functional requirements categories. This template illustrates organizing the functional requirements for the product by system features. The major services provided by the product. You may prefer to organize this section by use case, mode of operation, user class, object class, functional hierarchy, or combination of these. Anything can be used. So we have to mention like this: system feature 1. Don't write system feature 1, we have to specifically mention. Don't really say system feature 1. state the feature name in just a few words. What is the feature that you are expecting? The action, the operation that need to be performed. We have to mention the description and the priority, whether it is having lower priority, higher priority, whether it can be implemented a little late, or maybe in the first cycle we need to implement it. So provide a short description of the feature and indicate whether it is of high, medium or low priority. You could also include specific priority component ratings such as benefit or penalty, cost and risk. What happens if I don't implement it? That can also be mentioned. Now, stimulus response sequences. Under this, we need to list the sequence of user actions and system responses that stimulate the behavior defined for this feature. So I hope you understand this is like interaction. That means we are based on this we can develop the use cases, use case diagrams. These will correspond to the dialogue elements associated with use cases. Functional requirements, most important. Itemize the detailed functional requirements associated with this feature. Each and every feature, for each and every feature we need to write this, please understand. These are the software capabilities that must be present in order for the user to carry out the service provided by the feature or to execute the use case. Include how the product should respond to anticipated error conditions. You have to also write how it should respond the unforeseen circumstances. Error conditions are invalid inputs. Requirements should be concise, complete, unambiguous, verifiable and necessary. Please remember these features for the requirements. Each requirement should be uniquely identified with a sequence number or a meaningful tag of some kind, like requirement 1, requirement 2. And please remember, when you are writing the requirements, you will make use of shall. The system shall implement so and so feature. That is one requirement. Shall is a mandatory implementation requirement. Then we have external interface requirements under step 4, where we will mention about user interfaces. Describe the logical characteristics of each interface between the software product and the users. This may include sample screen images, user interfaces, nothing but your human computer interaction, HCI. You can have GUI standards, what sort of GUI you want to implement, and product family style guides that are to be followed. Screen layout constraints, standard buttons and functions, like for example help button, what should be there, what should be there in that, you have to mention here, that will appear on every screen. Keyboard shortcuts, error message display standards and so on has to be specified here. See in how detailed the information would be there in SRS document, try to appreciate it. Define the software components for which a user interface is needed. And then here we will also mention the hardware interfaces. Describe the logical and physical characteristics of each interface between the software product and the hardware components of the system. This may include the supported device types, the nature of data and control, interactions between the software and the hardware, and communication protocols to be used. Then we can mention about software interfaces. Describe the connections between this product and other specific software components. We may also need to name and version of that particular software components, including databases, operating system, tools, libraries and integrated commercial components. Whatever it may be interacting with, those we need to mention. Identify the data items or messages coming into the system and going out, and describe the purpose of each, how it is interfacing. Describe the services needed and the nature of communications. So we also need to mention the communication interfaces likewise. And then we will mention the non-functional requirements, where we need to mention the performance requirement, explain the circumstances as well as safety requirements, specify those requirements that are concerned with possible loss, damage or harm, and security requirements, specify any requirements as such. So software quality attributes needs to also be specified.